69 episode.
Yes. Hello, lunch and learners. Welcome to another fantastic episode, Lunch and Learn. Today we are on episode number 69. Coach Bruce, thank you for being here with us this morning, afternoon. I don't know. It's 1 o'clock for you, or 1,
Yeah.
12.
And today is Friday, August 4th, 2023. As always, the only August 4th, 2023 you will have in your lifetime.
Yes. And Bruce, what are we talking about today, Bruce?
With a big GRATITUDE, gratitude.
I love gratitude. I love it. And you know what? Just talking with Coach Bruce right now kind of like got me emotional. And he said, "Why don't we talk about gratitude?" I'm like, let's do this. Let's do it now.
Yeah, and for you lunch and learners, I want you to know that Coach Juan is so passionate, and we really are in the lineage of Napoleon Hill. Whatchamacallit? I forget.
It's Andrew Carnegie, Napoleon Hill, Earl Nightingale from
that
Chicago.
Yeah. And then Bob Proctor. And Coach Juan is always so grateful to Bob Proctor. He feels like Bob Proctor pretty much led the life he was leading, not identical, but he could really relate to Bob Proctor when he was sharing who you could be. So, Coach Juan, take it away. Tell us more about your discovery.
Yes. So you know what, Bruce? I was like many people that struggle in life because they bought into a lie. And the lie that I'm talking about is that if you don't have a good education, you're never going to be able to achieve your dreams. You're never going to be able to become the person that you were intended to become. And I bought into the lie. And I was like, well, I don't have a high school diploma. I don't have any special education. So I was putting myself inside of that little box. And it wasn't until I heard Bob Proctor for the first time, he said, you know what? I only had 2 months of high school. Once he said that, I was like all ears to Bob Proctor, like, tell me some more. He's like, and I built a very successful business, making millions and millions of dollars and helping people from all over the world. And when he said that, he's like, don't allow your limitations to hold you back from your dreams. And another beautiful thing that he said somewhere down the road, he's like, you know what? Everybody can change somebody's life. He's like, maybe I'm the one that can change your life. He's like, Ray, a guy named Ray Stanford, that's the guy that introduced him to Think and Grow Rich. He's like, he's the one that changed my life. And because of that, now I'm changing millions of people's lives all over the world. And I'm always going to be grateful to Bob Proctor because he's the one that changed my life. He got me out of this little box that I was building, this little movie for me, my little future that was not taking me anywhere. And he took me from there and put me in a place where I can create my own future. I was like, wow, that's so powerful right there.
Coach Juan, thank you for your authenticity. And I'm going to ask you to be a little bit more vulnerable. For the viewing audience, tell us who you were when it came to high school, because you were sharing with me that you had a kind of path that wasn't getting you anywhere. Tell us a little bit about your path.
Yeah, so I always share with Bruce, like I grew up in an atmosphere that was you pretty much decide whether you want to get enrolled in gangs at a young age or you do your education. So I decided to go with the gang banging activities. And that's where my path was taking me, because that was a decision that I made at an early stage in my life and I didn't pretty much know any better of like that you can become the person you wanted to become. So I didn't know anything about that. But once I got into gangs, I was introduced to different types of drugs, and for many years I was stuck in that environment of like drug abuse and alcoholism were like pretty much those two dominant things that had complete power over me pretty much, Coach Bruce.
Great. Again, thank you, Coach Juan. Tell me too, and tell our viewing audience a little bit about when you had a child and your experience of being a dad.
Yeah, so my first son, he was born when like right a month before I turned 18. He was born on July 29th, and my birthday is on August 19th. So, and that that did help me a little bit with growing up and working with different kids and different activities within our friends and stuff like that. But one of the things that I used to share with Bruce, are like, I've always been like that kind of person that always looking out for other people, especially for kids or the youth. And anytime that we had like a family gathering or with just friends, whatever, like we always used to bring our kids and go and drink and go party, go to barbecue, whatever. But there's always the one kid, like there was always kids that were shy or they want to get enrolled. They wanted to do something with other activities, but they always wanted their dads to be right there with them. So I don't know why, but there was something special about me that always allowed me to get these kids involved and get them enrolled in different activities within those barbecues, especially if they were maybe brand new to the group or something. But I was always able to get these kids enrolled in different activities.
I love it, because that's who you are for me today, that you really are there so that everybody can see that they have the opportunity to choose the life they want. So even when you were involved in the drinking, drugging, and community, you had a heart for younger kids, And so I love that who you are didn't really change, but more of who you are just got opened up, became available to you. So say more about choosing. You hear Bob Proctor, and what did you say to yourself? What did you say in general?
Like when I heard Bob Proctor for the first time, like there was something inside of me that said like that's what I want to do. Like that's the person that I wanted to become. I wanted to become the speaker, that coach that Bob was, but I was like, at the same time, I was limiting myself. But at the same time, I was like, you know what, this is what I need, and I need to make a decision. Because I told Bruce, like I got to the point where using drugs and alcohol and all that nonsense, I pretty much got tired of that stuff. And I think I got to a point in my life pretty much that now that I'm thinking about it, like I had two choices, like either this is your way out or this is going to be the rest of your life.
Beautiful.
That's the way I see it. And that's the way that I see it now, Bruce. Like now that I think about it, those were the two choices that I had. And I'm just so grateful that I chose out.
Me too, because I get to be with you. One of the things I like too is, you were like so honest. You say, hey, we had these parties and I got to be with all these beautiful girls. So there's something very attractive about that ganging and drugging community, that lifestyle.
Yeah. So, and anybody out there, maybe that you got involved with gangs in one point of your life, or you're still in gang activity, like, there's always something that drives us to be at the point. And for me, like I told Bruce, like being around the girls was like, that was my favorite part of being in that activity. Like that was my drive, like being around those beautiful girls and talking to them and flirting around with the girls. Like, oh man, that's like, I always love that.
So viewers, you mature, beautiful women, I want you to know Coach Juan is single and looking for really a great woman. One of the other things you talked about is if we could offer something to young people, because I had a question about what can we offer to young people that would engage them in something that's healthy without pushing them? Like what could be a pull type of thing? And what was your suggestion?
My suggestion has always been like, we invite you to become the person that you were meant to be. And I know that sounds kind of like, I don't know what it sounds like, but we can help you. Like actually, like the way that I was helped, like introduced to, like you can become the person you were created to become. And a lot of these people, especially in gang activities, they're into these gang activities because they want to be part of something. There's something inside of each and every single one of these talented people. Man, once you get around these people, like once you start discovering, talking to them, discovering who they really are, there's like endless possibilities inside those little brains of theirs. And that's what we invite people to become. Like, figure out who are you and what were you put on this planet to do? You were here to create amazing things for other people, for your family, for your loved ones. But it's up to you to make that choice. You're the one that has to make that change. You're the one that has to decide. Nobody can decide for you, but only you.
It's interesting that you say that. A very famous Academy Award winning actor, Gary Sinise, he'll talk about, he grew up near me. He grew up in Highwood, which is right next to Highland Park, where the 4th of July shooting was last year. But Highwood is kind of like the tougher area, and he was going to a school where it wasn't where the normal kids, he was excluded from the regular school. It was, I guess, kind of like a little reform school. And, he got into acting. And I guess he loved it. And he had a bit part initially, but he loved it. He got to be somebody other than who he was daily. And there was a standing ovation when the performance was over, when the play was over. And he said it was the first time he had people cheering for him, clapping for him, and just turned his life around. And I heard you talk about, you could have people from rival gangs be in a play, but the idea was that let's make the play the best that it could be. So it's like your part fits with my part, and let's make this a great play.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. It's like getting the standing ovation. Even we see this in playing sports, high school, junior high. It doesn't matter what kind of sports you play. Anytime you score the winning point, anytime you score the touchdown, though, you hit a home run, whatever it is that you're playing out in the street with your buddies, you're always looking for somebody to say good job, or somebody to give you some type of recognition. Because that's what we want. That's what drives me. Anytime I do something amazing, I always look for somebody to see somebody's going to applaud, or maybe they're not in agreement with me or whatever. But 90% of the time, somebody's cheering you on, and maybe you can't notice those people, but those people that are in gangs right now, maybe you have some kids that are in gang related activities. They're just looking for recognition. That's all they're looking for.
Yeah. We all want to be heard. We all want to be appreciated. We all want to be validated. Those are three things that I think human beings want. And all it takes is a person who cares, But first, it takes the choice of the individual.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be having to give up some old connections, old activities. All those beautiful girls who were hanging out like at the partying and the druggy and the drinking, you probably had to take a bit of a step away from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think I posted something on Facebook earlier. It says that as long as the wrong people are involved in your life, you're not going to be able to attract the right people into your life. And that's exactly what I did, Bruce. Like, I went to a retreat, and when the speaker was talking about, like, you know what, like, after I went home, there was nobody were there like offering me drinks or alcohol or drugs. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And as soon as I get off this event today, I'm pretty sure that my phone's going to be ringing off the hook, offering me some drinks or some drugs. But something magical happened. I went home. There was 0 phone calls on that phone. I was like, what the heck just happened? But that was because I had already made the committed decision that was not going to be my life anymore. So, but once you make the decision, like, everything else is going to work according to whatever decision you make today.
Absolutely. I had somewhat a similar experience, when I was in my early 30s. I was 55 pounds heavier than I am today. I used to smoke 2.5 packs of cigarettes every day. Yeah. And when I chose to make a lifestyle change, I was a stockbroker. We would the market closed at 3:00 back in those days. We would finish up whatever paperwork we had to do, and then we would walk across the hall to a bar. It was right in our building, and we would drink for a couple hours before we went home. Usually we would have wholesalers come in. They want us to sell their products. So they would buy us hors d'oeuvres and they would buy us drinks, And when I chose to do something different, it was like, I need to stay out of the bar because I'd given up cigarettes. And I knew that if I had a drink or two, I'd go back to smoking. And therefore, I had to have something. I took up running, jogging. I had to have an incentive to keep me off cigarettes and to keep me off the booze. But what occurred was my fellow brokers were going and gathering up the troops to go across the hall. And they said, "Oh, don't ask him anymore. He's no fun." And I had to live with that. It was like, well, I guess I'm not fun. But it was my health. I really was committed to my health. So I gave up being fun to be healthy.
Yes. Yes, and I think we saw that in one of the programs that we did. You have to give up something of a lower nature to receive something of a higher nature. So your health is obviously your health is more important than having a drink or a smoke out there.
Yeah. So you and the viewing audience, what is it for you? What is your passion? What is your type C goal that you really desire, but you haven't yet been able to achieve it, or you have, and you've got a great story about what you did to overcome your limitations from before. So just share things with us. And, we were talking about creating activities for early adolescence, middle adolescence, later adolescence. If you have any ideas, we're really open to suggestions. We're committed to helping create activities, and teachings for adolescents, but not to talk at them, but to enroll them, to create pull education, something that they might want. So we're open to all kinds of ideas. We know that there's brilliance out there. And so please, hit us up with your suggestions.
Yes, guys. And thank you, Coach Bruce, too, for this talking about gratitude. I love it. So thank you.
Yeah. We didn't speak a lot about gratitude, but the whole topic was gratitude. So, and viewing audience, we're grateful for you, and we're grateful for each other too. So thank you for letting us share a part of your lunch hour.
Thank you. All righty, guys. We'll see you back on Monday.
Monday.
Thank you, Bruce.
Sounds good.